Hello and welcome to Here to Listen podcast. So I'm Steph and I'm here with Emily.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. You?
Good.
And we've also got two special guests with us.
Who are? Introduce yourself, girls.
Hi, I'm Ella. And hi, I'm Rihanna.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on today. Quite short notice as well. So we've had a couple of podcast guests this week around NCS, hearing your voice for 16-year-olds. So today we thought we'd break it up a little bit more and we're going to have a little chat about social media. Obviously, this day and age, like social media is a massive media platform for young people and adults. So I just wanted to get your views on social media. Emily, do you want to start the subject?
We were actually talking about social media this morning as we were sort of driving into work, and how much it must have changed over the last. Well, obviously we're older than you, so you guys are 16. I'm 28. Steph is 30. So there's a big difference in the social media that we had to the social media that we have now, and we were talking about that and how it's all changed for us. But actually, in reality, I don't think that has changed very much for you guys. I guess I don't know. What are your thoughts on how much it's changed for you? Because for us, we had sort of MySpace, Bebo, then Twitter, and now we don't really use Twitter very much. And now we're on Facebook and TikTok and all that. So we've had 5 or 6 different social media platforms. What is it like for you guys?
Well, the first two I've never heard of personally.
Never even heard of MySpace or Bebo. Oh.
But yeah, we do have quite a lot of platforms. We have like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. We still use Twitter quite a lot.
Do you?
Interesting that you guys still use Twitter. I wouldn't say it like personally for me. I was actually talking to Emily this morning about it, and I very, very rarely use Twitter. It was a big thing for me back in the day. We were actually trying to work out like when we first joined Facebook and that type of stuff. Like I think I first joined Facebook in like 2006, and that's going back a long time ago. And I was actually old enough to have it. I don't think you were, were you? Because you had to be 18, I think, at that point.
Oh, did you? Then I was definitely 16.
But Twitter was still quite big then. I know it's like I do notice a lot more because I use it for Here to Listen social media. It is used more of a platform to like tag companies in and like hashtag it. It's all hashtags and stuff like that, isn't it? I'm not very clued up on those anyway. But it's interesting to know that you still use Twitter. You mentioned TikTok. Like TikTok has like gone through the roof, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's huge now. Everyone has it.
Everyone has it. Do you think? I was just thinking. Do you think there's sort of like? Do you post videos and TikToks?
I personally don't.
You just do it more for just. Oh, so one of you does, one of you don't. Interesting. And when you post videos and that, are you literally like?
I'm too self-conscious though.
You're too self-conscious.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I would be exactly the same. I would not be posting videos on TikTok. If I was to get TikTok, it would only be to watch other people's, definitely.
But like for love.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I do have TikTok just because during the whole lockdown, I see a couple of videos and I did a couple with my dog, but it's not like they went viral. They really didn't. I think my like 13-year-old niece, she liked it. That's as far as it went. But some guys have done really, really well. We've recently had Ellis on our podcast.
Ellis North, yeah.
Ellis North. He's TikTok famous and he speaks a lot about it. So around that, obviously one of you does post videos. Do you find yourself like constantly looking back at the videos, like to see how many like views you've had and stuff like that?
Really? Because like I just post them for fun. Like when I'm with my friends, we'll just make a video and then we'll post it, and then it's kind of there for us to look back on. It's like memory.
Okay, that's kind of how I use
think if I did it
Instagram.
like myself and I did it for fun, definitely. Even if all the media platforms are just there to like store memories, I think, in my eyes.
Yeah, I actually think that's exactly the same for how I use social media. Actually, is just for me to look back on and think about, and you're sort of in the future. And I do find myself watching the memories quite a lot.
Yeah, no, it's definitely got some pros to having social media, especially going back on the memories, and it's somewhere to actually keep all your photos and videos, because obviously, like on your phone, it literally kills your memory, doesn't it? So yeah, there is so many pros to social media, and I think today as well, rather than like actually going out to, if you want to go look at a restaurant or something like that and looking at menus and stuff, you don't go to the restaurant and look on the window like we'd normally do when you were
not back
abroad
in the day.
or back in the day. We never used to do that. But now we literally research it online, bam, we can get it quicker than ever. So it's got so many good pros to social media. Is there any other pros that you can think of that you think that's really good, that why we have it?
I think certain movements, for example, the Black Lives Matter movement, recently, I don't think it would have been as big as it would be without social media, especially with us being in quarantine and us having to isolate. And we wouldn't necessarily have those connections that we would have had in order to be able to organise something as big as that movement was. So in that case, I think in terms of correcting things that we see wrong in society, I do think it's a lot better.
It definitely does give traction to events like that and to movements like that. And like you say, a sense of sort of community when actually we're a million miles away from each other sometimes. A lot of the Black Lives Matter especially sort of focused on America, but everyone was able to get involved because of that social media sort of international element. So yeah, I think that's a good point.
And I think during
it's
the
a
whole...
nice way to
Oh, sorry, go on.
It's a nice way to unite people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially with this whole lockdown that we had, and so many people actually are on their own and they can still connect with their family and stuff through social media. Was it like a massive help? And people still being able to go to work every day, but actually working from home, we still have to use social media to use that. What would you say a bit of the dark side of social media? What feel do you get from that? Or do you think there's even a dark side to social media?
100%. Like, I do find, like, in terms of when we were talking about posting pictures of friends, I do think posting pictures and videos of friends is very different to posting pictures of yourself. Because when I post pictures of myself, I do find myself looking at the likes, the comments, the views, and it's kind of like almost addictive looking at them. And then, like, when I don't get the views that I want, I do feel self-conscious, like, and I start to pick things out about myself that necessarily aren't good enough, and that's why I'm not getting as many. So I think in that sense, it does cause people to be like quite self-conscious about themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
You also have all of these mainstream Instagrammers, should I say, who are just putting out into the world unrealistic beauty standards, and then you find yourself comparing yourself to these people who aren't even real. They've like faked their whole online appearance.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And you can never tell, can you? That's the other thing. You can never tell whether it's real, fake, how much of it is real. And that's the difficulty because they're behind the screen, behind the phone or computer or what have you.
Like when you're going to post something, I know that quite a few people take like hundreds of pictures and they'll choose one. And I think that's quite a critical way of looking at yourself. Thinking like going through them, that one's not good enough, that one's not good enough, and out of those hundreds that you've taken, it's one picture that makes it.
Yeah, and then even that one, you still go back over to double check how many likes you're getting, and if you don't get enough likes, is that the best photo?
Yeah, exactly.
It was actually before lockdown. I went to an appointment in Dunstable, and I called into McDonald's with my colleague, and we were just having lunch stuff, and there was these two girls just sat behind her, and they were around 16 to 17 years old. They hadn't even brought nothing. They were just in there chilling, sitting down on their phones, weren't even having a conversation. And then the selfies started happening, and it was literally mad. They must have took easily 100 photos just while they were sat there within like 5 to 10 minutes, getting all these different right angles and the lighting and all of it. I might post this one. She was really second guessing whether she should post it. And it is really concerning that like girls are that self-conscious today.
I think it's boys as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's everyone.
It is boys
it is everyone.
as well. I'm just going from this experience, but it was mind blowing. And it like I think back to when I was younger. Obviously, I am 30. I am a lot older, but when I was your age and lower, we were still out playing on the streets. I didn't get my first mobile till I was about 13. And again, that didn't have social media on it. Like, I don't even think my first phone had a camera on it. So we didn't have that. We didn't have nothing to live up to. There was no expectation of, like Emily said earlier, we had Pixo and Bebo. Like, that's probably stuff that you didn't ever hear of in MySpace. But uploading a photo then, they were still selfie related. We used to upload a selfie, but we'd look at that now and be like, oh my God, that is
Cringe.
awful. Take
Yeah,
it
that
off.
would be so cringy.
It'd be really, really cringy. But there was still a little bit of an expectation, I suppose, but not to the extent that there is today. And in today's society, it is mad of the, the edits, all of that type of stuff that...
Social media has become much more visual than it was back in our day. When we were talking about MySpace, even Facebook actually, to a certain extent, is more about the written word. It's about your status, how are you today is what it's sort of ask you. So it was all about written content, wasn't it? Which is something that we could do on our phones or on our computers, whereas we couldn't put a photo up. But now with Instagram, TikTok, it's all very visual images, videos. That's the content that we're putting out there these days. And I think that does make it much, much harder, like you were saying, about that sort of image, I guess, body image, and the culture around body image is really tricky to manage as teenagers, really hard. Is there any other sort of negatives that you can sort of see to social media? Is there a pressure, I suppose, around having whichever social media platform? I remember, so I had MySpace for a long time. I know this is irrelevant now, like you say, you don't know of these things, but I had MySpace for a long time, and then I moved school, secondary school, halfway through sort of year 8 I moved to a different secondary school, and everyone was on this Bebo, and I'd never heard of it. It never even crossed my... I don't know whether it was a regional thing or what have you, and I felt this pressure. I see it now, but I didn't at the time. I definitely felt this pressure to be like, oh, I need to get Bebo then, like I have to, because all my friends are on it. And I wonder if that pressure is still there, just in a different way. Like, did you feel pressured to get TikTok when all your friends got TikTok?
I mean, personally, I didn't. But social media nowadays is used to plan everything as well. So if anyone's going to go out, you're going to plan it on Snapchat in your big group chat. So if you don't have Snapchat, it's like you won't get included.
Wow, okay, yeah. That sort of fear of missing out is going to be massive for you.
I guess a little bit of pressure to have it, to feel included. Yeah, I did definitely. When I moved to secondary school up here, I did feel, I think I personally felt that pressure, but I didn't have anything. Like, I guess, like, we didn't communicate that way when we were younger. We didn't use social media platforms. And then definitely as I moved to year 7, I saw like all these people getting it, like Instagram, Snapchat, things like that, which I'm going to be honest, I hadn't heard of. Like, I was quite sheltered away from it. And as soon as I heard loads of people talking about it, it was kind of like FOMO. I was scared of like not having it, like I'll miss out something. And I think that's always the way I've been, but I do get scared that like I'm going to miss out on something. Everyone's going to be talking about this, but I'm not going to know about it.
That's the same with sort of Twitter trends, isn't it? You know, that's one of the differences that Twitter has to other platforms, is that trending sort of aspect to it, and not Twitter's missing out on news and stuff.
News. If you want to find something out, everyone goes to Twitter because it's going to be trending.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, actually. Anything sort of in the sort of pop culture domain, you know, you hear someone say something, oh, did you hear about, I don't know, whoever, literally anybody famous, you go straight to Twitter. Yeah. Actually, I do that, to be fair. That is exactly what I use Twitter 100%. For. And I also use Twitter to complain to people, businesses, and you get a response so quickly.
At them in, get some free vouchers.
Yep, definitely.
Know what Emily does.
I'd say the same for Facebook. Everyone complains on Facebook as well.
Do you think? Yeah, everyone complains on Facebook. Facebook's like the new thing to just smash out some complaints. Or I do find, don't you find, like with the villages and stuff like that, or like little Facebook handles around your local area, that whole village will then bombard with complaints and stuff like that.
It's so bad. Like we have our local Facebook group, and the mums complain 24/7. Like it's like really small things as well. It's like, oh, I saw this person walking past. I saw them on my camera, and I thought they looked a bit dodgy. But it's like, and then everybody has to be like, yeah, I saw this person. When it's like, sometimes it's like teenagers just walking around.
Yeah,
and it's like, they look doing nothing.
Or it's just like an Amazon delivery driver, and then it comes out, oh yeah, he delivered my parcel like down at number 3, and then they're like, oh.
We talked a little bit about sort of young people in the media yesterday, because we had a sort of a section on youth voice, and it's interesting that you sort of bring up that actually, it could just be a young person walking along, but all of a sudden, because they're on this local group, they become a yob or a gang member or whatever. They're a hoodie and they're just causing grief, even though they're literally just walking along the road.
Yeah, because I do feel like there is that stereotype about teenagers. I feel like the older generation, they don't understand the fashion of like the younger generation. We're just seen as like the antisocial group. They're like the trends that are going around at the moment.
Yeah, no, definitely. We see it a lot, actually, to be fair. Young people are not perceived well, especially in social media.
No.
Do you think, just throwing it out there, my niece has recently just turned 12, and as part of her birthday, she was desperate to get Instagram. And she's been allowed it. That's cool. That's parents' decision and all of that. Do you think there should be like a limit on ages on these social media platforms? I just think she's trying to, like, going back to what you were saying, was that you're trying to keep up with your friends and you don't want to feel that person that's left out. And some of her friendship group, they've already got Snapchat, they're on Instagram, they've got TikTok. Some even have Facebook, and it is a bit mad, but it's up to each parent into their own. So she got her Instagram account, and it's like she's just trying to fit in with today's society, and not wanting to be left out. So how would you say that you'd want an age limit on these social media platforms?
I think it's good to have a rough, like, approximate age that you should be on social media. But I think it depends on, like, person to person.
Yeah.
But looking back, because I got it when I was 12, looking back at it, I really wanted it then. Like, I thought I was missing out, and I was like, I need this, I need to have it. And I, like, begged my parents to get it. But looking back, I genuinely think I could have waited. Like, I didn't need it then. It was only because everybody else had it that I wanted it. There was no other reason other than that. I was pretty much the opposite, because I didn't get it till a year later than everyone else. But I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything, because when you're that young, everyone still talks. It's not all over social media when you're like 12.
Yeah, you still see each other every day at school.
Person to person. Yeah. Definitely when you get to like maybe 14, 15, 16, social media is like the main form of communication. So it makes sense giving people of that age social media. But any younger than that, really, you still talk in person a lot more than you do online.
Yeah, you do, definitely.
I wonder if that lines up with, because you sort of take some different options and what have you in secondary school around that sort of time, and you sort of then you end up splitting up from your form group or whoever your friendships are, and you have certain lessons with them, but there'll be days where you might not see them at all, hardly. I wonder if it sort of lines up with that, or whether it's just an age thing and actually we just prefer talking, because some people definitely just prefer talking over WhatsApp or social media, and they will not pick up the phone. We see that a lot actually with NCS, don't we?
Yeah.
With young people just not answering the phone. They don't want to talk to you. I don't know whether it's an anxiety thing or whether they're just not comfortable face-to-face talking to you, but they'll happily message you.
Send you text.
Yeah, no worries.
I think that kind of feeds into the whole hiding behind a screen thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because definitely when I'm talking on the phone, I do feel a sense of like anxiety talking to people on the phone. Because like when you're texting and you're on social media, you can plan it out. But when you're talking to someone face to face or just on the phone, it's there in the moment. You can't take back what you said. You can't delete it. You can't re-say it. But then also, I think messaging through something, because unlike when you're on the phone with someone, you can't hear their tone of voice. Yeah. So something can just be taken in the complete wrong way, even if you didn't mean it.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really, really good point. Going back to those like local Facebook groups and stuff like that, sometimes it comes across like they're really, really aggy, but actually it's just the way that they type. It's not them being that. It's just a different perception from some people, isn't there?
Yeah.
But that's a really good point, actually. You can't judge anything by a message or anything like that. And yeah, good point. I like that.
I guess how do you feel about the fact that I think most people sort of are in agreement that once you put something out there on the internet, whether it's a picture or even just a status on Facebook or Twitter or what have you, it is out there and it's permanent basically. As much as you could go back on and delete that message or delete that photo, it's out there and for the internet to have and use and take or whatever. How does that make you feel as a young person dealing with that?
I think that definitely is scary, but then it's also down to us. It is our responsibility to not put out things that we don't want everyone to see. Like we would get told in school, don't post anything you wouldn't want your nan to see.
Yeah.
So like, I think it is down to us. So we just need to be responsible. and take responsibility for our own actions.
Yeah,
really.
it's just, yeah.
Which is why sometimes I think when you're getting it from a young age, like when you're younger, it's quite easy to be manipulated. I'm not saying you're not when you're older, but I think from a young age, your mind's young and it's easy for it to be manipulated by people. And in that sense, I see that there's a restriction on the age.
Yeah. No, I agree. Just going back to that responsibility thing from yesterday, actually, that this kind of like ties in with that. So it does actually give you some sort of responsibility about what you're posting on these social media platforms. And actually at 16, you've got to take accountability for that. So yeah, you have got some responsibilities.
Yeah. And actually, if you put something out on your social media at the age of 16, that's still visible for those that are looking at your CVs and your sort of job applications when you're 18, 20, 25, whatever. So yeah, you're right. It is a sort of responsibility to think about your social footprint or whatever you'd call it. I don't know. How much do you guys get taught in school about social media and social media usage? You brought up that, you know, the whole don't share anything that you wouldn't share with your nan, but is it taught enough, do you think, in schools?
I think it's taught a lot in school, but they always give you the same thing. So it just teaches you something you've already known. They don't tell you everything you should know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's a lot to do with you shouldn't send stuff or you shouldn't do stuff, but it's never what to do if you have type thing. They don't really talk about that, like what to do after, what you can do about it. I know there's not always something you can do, but I feel like some people need that, but some people have already done it. And I think at that point they just need help with like how to deal with it.
Yeah, rather than hiding to the fact that it's happened and actually getting the right
They
help.
just try to scare you and it doesn't make any better.
And actually everyone makes mistakes, don't they? They put the wrong photo out or the wrong caption or whatever and actually regret it almost instantly, probably some of them. So yeah, I think, okay, that it's good to know, I think, for us as a podcast team, as an organisation, that actually there's a gap in the market, if you like, to make sure that young people do know a little bit more about what they can do after something's happened on social media. Something that we can definitely pass on to the right people and see if we can include. Yeah,
Definitely. Well, we're going to wrap this up, girls. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on our podcast today.
Thank you. It's been brilliant.
Really hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having us.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.